Right now is actually a great time to get performance bargains in the automotive world. That's why we brought together 7 different cars, all around $25,000, that provide lots of speed and plenty of thrift. On top of that, they all offer plenty of practicality and, if you can keep your foot off the gas pedal, plenty of fuel economy as well. These cars offer plenty of bang for the buck. The Chevy Cobalt SS, for instance, works out to $93 per horsepower, which is the same as a Mustang GT. A Corvette, by comparison, is $115. If you're looking for fun and trying to save a few dollars, this is definitely the place to start. The Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart was intended to slot right below the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. Unfortunately, Mitsubishi came out with a car with 227 horsepower at the same time that Subaru upped their WRX to 265 horsepower, leaving the Mitsubishi in a substantial horsepower hole. On top of that, the Mitsubishi is the heaviest car in the test, 300 pounds heavier than the Subaru. Only with all-wheel drive was the Mitsubishi able to get the second best 0 to 60 time, but by 100 miles an hour, it's falling behind. We did love the seats straight from the Evolution, and the paddle shift gearbox shifts quickly in any scenario. Ultimately, what sets back the Ralliart most is its $27,000 base price. The Mitsubishi's lack of power and high sticker price leave it in 7th place. The Mini Cooper Clubman John Cooper works, that's a mouthful, you get not a lot of car for a whole lot of money. The JCW costs $7,100 more than a Clubman S. For that, you get 36 more horsepower, a sport tune suspension, bigger wheels, and some body accents. Not a whole lot of stuff. The extra grunt does lop 0.6 of a second off the 0 to 60 time, and the chassis absolutely shines. On the road, we loved the Cooper's chuckable nature and its nimble handling. The steering also provides plenty of feedback with very little torque steer. Inside, the Mini's interior looks more like it was thrown together instead of designed, and the view out the back, bisected by the split rear doors, is horrible. The high price of the Clubman's thrills lurch it into 6th place. When the Honda Civic Coupe first showed up in 2006, with the sedan following a year later, its 197 horsepower was right at the top of the segment, and the gearbox was universally praised as one of the best in the whole business. Today, though, the Civic's power-to-weight ratio has fallen behind the competition. What the Civic does offer is plenty of value. At just under $25,000, our test car was loaded up with navigation, sunroof, satellite radio, and a USB input for your iPod player. The interior, too, is full of tiny cubby holes where you can put any of your stuff, and it's always right where you need to find it. Unfortunately, the spaceship style results in an A-pillar that's right where you want to look when you're going around a corner. On top of that, the steering could best be described as totally numb. The Civic is still fun to drive, but its lack of power and the bad steering leave it in a 5th place finish. When Subaru increased the power output to 265 horsepower, it was enough to make the WRX hit 0 to 60 faster than the WRX STI, which costs $10,000 more and supposedly puts out 305 horsepower, 40 more than the current WRX. Besides the rocket ship launches, the WRX also pulls better than the STI from lower revs, with tons of torque from around 3,000 RPM. The suspension has been stiffened up as well, although in this group it felt like one of the softer cars of the bunch. That's great on the highway, but on the twisty back roads, the WRX just felt a little too inert for us to give it our all. All in all, a solid 4th place finish. We were just as surprised by the Chevy Cobalt SS as you probably are. First, the Cobalt SS shocked our lightning lap competition with a best-in-class finish at VIR. Clearly, that car was a ringer. Think again. This Cobalt is the real deal, much to our surprise. Acceleration, handling on the skid pad, lane change, and braking are all right at the top of this group. The only problem with the Cobalt SS is, well, it starts out as a Cobalt, which means rental car interior and bland styling. It's not going to catch anyone's attention. Maybe not the police either, if that's what you're looking for. All the improvements over the standard Cobalt, though, blast its way all the way up to 3rd place. The Volkswagen GTI already finished 2nd place in a previous comparison test, but we decided to bring it back and give the dual-clutch gearbox a try. Once again, we loved the Volkswagen's interior, especially the plaid seats. The interior is spacious and the controls are easy to use. On top of that, the chassis is confident and buttoned down and makes it easy to drive fast. The GTI is a little short on power, making it one of the slower cars of the group, but it's still easy to see why we picked it our 10 best winner. In this test, looking for the ultimate in cheap speed, the Volkswagen, unfortunately, is only good enough for second best. This is the Mazdaspeed 3's third comparison test, and its third win. This one didn't come easy, though. All of the cars in this test are special, but the Mazda is the most special, thanks in part to its 263 horsepower turbocharged engine. The engine was actually too much for some people, who complain about torque steer in second and even third gear. But the rest of the Mazda is superb, from the excellent weight of the steering, to the balanced chassis, even down to the well-appointed interior. Everything in the Mazda 3 is solid, and it all comes at a price of near $450 more than the least expensive Honda Civic Si. So for now, the Mazdaspeed 3 is perched atop the Pocket Rocket pile. For the complete story on this test, visit caranddriver.com.